Welcome to everyone. We're here in Martin County, Kentucky. The community that used to be called Himlerville is now Beauty, Kentucky. And we're at the Martin Himler house. That was Mr. Himmler's place of business, entertainment, and pushing his whole idea of Himmlerville back in the day. At this point, the house has fallen into disrepair, and we're here to talk about the disassembly, to take it apart, and to salvage all salvageable materials that we can. Really what we're after are details. Crown moldings, casings, window sashes, doors, baseboards, all the casings, columns, all the details that we can salvage, that we can not necessarily reuse that material back into the new construction of the Himler house, but we will use those materials as patterns to pattern our knives after and have our new trims reproduced to match exactly what was here. Now, my background in restoration goes back numerous years ago. Back in the 80s, Pike County Preservation Group, group of ladies, Betsy Venters and Nancy Forsythe, Sophie Hayes, a lot of those ladies, they latched on me right out of college when I was in construction, started to cut my teeth, and said, we need you to become part of our organization. So I joined with them, and then they proceeded to ship me off to Chicago to the National Preservation meetings every year. And they paid the bill, and I went and learned. So I've always called myself a specialist. And people ask me, well, why do you call yourself a specialist? What makes you a specialist? I said, well, I've got all the phone numbers of the experts. I've met them all, talked with them, been in their classes, I've got their numbers. I run into a problem with modern technology, I send them a picture and we talk it over. So I'm the specialist. We've done a lot of historic restoration from over at Wayland Gymnasium, the house that King Kelly played in. Hatfield McCoy Fugue sites, rebuilt those. Very similar project what we're talking about here, the hog trial site and the election day fight site in the Hatfield McCoy. When I showed up at that site, there was two chimneys. One had collapsed, one still standing, front steps of the cabin there, and nothing else. I had a photograph. And we recreated that cabin to the original size. We went out, took us a few years to build that. We went out onto the timbering sites around the state and we bought the trees on the stump that we wanted. We paid for them right there. And then we cut them down and we wanted full size logs. We hand hewed them, we dovetailed them, we brought them to site and assembled them. So we've done that sort of work. We've worked on the York houses in Pikeville, the train depot, Federal Historic Restoration in Pikeville, did that for the city of Pikeville years ago. Pikeville College Academy building, when we showed up to that building, its floors was collapsed. We rebuilt that. So we've done a lot of historic restoration over the years. Been very fortunate for us. Been a good business for us, as well as preserving our culture. So we naturally were drawn to this project years ago. And it's been our honor to be part of the Martin County Preservation Group and work with them over the years. And what we want to do now is we're going to disassemble this, capture all those treasures that we can capture. The rest of the materials are going to be disposed of here on site with fire. Once we get that all cleaned up, our salvage materials put away, it's up to folks like Senator Wheeler to help us get money and our other county officials and state officials to where we can rebuild this. And it's very important, you know, as you know, Philip, Senator, there's a big push in eastern Kentucky right now for tourism dollars. Since we were attacked and coal has been destroyed, we've been searching for a way. And with the Hatfield McCoy trails and the four-wheeling, the natural beauty of our community, our area, tourism seems to be taking off. And this could be a key link into that, bringing people to the Himlerville project and touring, and have a place where we could display mining history and the history of Himmlerville. It's a rich, rich history here. What Mr. Himmler and his group did attempt to do, and they did. They fell in some hard times with flooding and different things, and it went away. But if you think back to the time frame that this thing was going on, and what was going on in the rest of Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, these people were way ahead of where everybody else was at. This needs to be highlighted in our community. This is not the typical stereotype that you would read about of Eastern Kentucky. This is way above that. So it's our honor to be part of this, and I look forward to being here when we're rebuilding this facility. Anyone have any questions?
Would the rehabilitation of the steps be included?
Yes, I think so. I think that's an important part of it because we don't have a lot of parking up here. I visualize people having a hiking trail to come view the site.
I should have brought the designs that you did. It showed the landscaping and all. And I should have brought that. But I did well to climb the hill without those.
You climbed the hill better than anybody here.
Yes, you did. But also, the history of this place is of the coal mining. That's what we want to focus on, the coal mines, not the man. But the man that built this, he went on to become an author, a newspaper owner, an editor, and also a colonel in the OSS government, which is now CIA.
Right.
I mean, it's a big history.
Yep.
And we need something in Martin County that will attract people, not just from Kentucky, but from the whole nation.
Right.
And even across the European countries. Because Hungarian people are really interested in this.
There's a rich heritage here.
Yeah.
The roots go deep.
Well, a part of the story that's grander than the house is the diversity that came here in the number of Hungarian families that had to merge with who were here, that were independent, stubborn, hardworking people. And they did. They merged and became friends and families together. And some of my best memories are Hungarian women that lived right down here that would tell me stories of where they came from.
Right.
And Jesse Stewart somehow got involved.
Also, it wasn't just Hungarians. We had Italians and people from those countries around Russia. I can't speak their names, let alone think of them. But that we had people from that area, but in all those connecting countries, you know, that came here. It's in our history of where they came from. Some from Poland and different places.
Right. And we see in our restoration work, we've seen their influence.
Yeah. It's not just focused on Hungarian, even though he was from Hungary, but he was also a Jew. His parents were Jews who had went to Hungary to make a living.
Right.
You know, really the Austro-Hungarian Empire in some ways was kind of a little bit of a European-style precursor to what we are here in America today. You had it was a multi-ethnic state. You had Germans, Czechs, Slovenes,
all of those, which you can think of.
Hungarians, you know, there was also a lot of the tensions like sometimes you have in the United States today, but actually before the dissolution after World War I, you know, actually I think it was Mark Twain actually toured Austria-Hungary. He said, you know, I can't speak to you know, why there was the tensions, but, you know, I said it was the most friendly place that he'd ever been as far as a welcoming state, you know. And,
Did you say his name was Mark White?
What?
Did you say his name?
Yeah, Mark tells a good tale too.
There you go.
Oh Lord.
What kind of time frame are we talking about tear down?
I would think that about 2 weeks for us to be here inside. Get cleaned up.
What about the chimneys? What?
Well, I want to evaluate those when we get all the wood away and get it cleaned up.
Man, they stand good with just a little
If-
support.
If they show any signs of unstableness, we'll take it down, because I don't want to leave something that's got that much stored energy with strangers visiting inside. I know the one on the other end of the house is very collapsed partially. We'll take it completely down. And then there's a small one at the old kitchen area that we'll take down.
Gonna save the columns?
Pardon?
Gonna save these?
We're going to salvage the columns, yes.
Because those are just awesome. I'm just sitting here marveling at how they were
It was like
made.
barrels, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, it's a Doric column,
So it's called Doric.
and it has movement to it. If you'll notice, it tapers. It comes up basically one diameter to about a third, and then it starts tapering. We call that movement, and that's part of the classic order. There's a dimension of the diameter, so many times, I think 8 times of the diameter is your standard height for a door.
Are those three the front columns? It's
Those
loaded
are
up?
all the same, different, location. They were at the porch.
Okay, on the front. Let me ask you this: what is the anticipated cost of guesstimation, not estimate, guesstimation?
With this current construction that we're in, housing construction is running, standard housing construction, I know in the Tennessee area, is $300 to $350 a square foot. In Pikeville, you're right around $200 a square foot. Lexington, you're right around $250 to $300 a square foot. It depends on demand, but the material costs are so high now,
Sure.
and labor costs have gone up as well. So it's really, and I would anticipate this to be higher than that, because we're going to do this the historic.
Throw me a number, ballpark. Just ballpark.
I'd say we're probably looking at $1.7 million, somewhere in there, to do this thing right,
Inside out, complete.
inside out.
That includes
Landscaping, and
landscaping.
some
Yeah,
blacktop and that, all of that. So if you
I've
can get
done
us
the
2
numbers.
million, we'll be happy.
I've got the numbers I've given to the
Yeah, you
historic.
gave me back, this was back when we first started.
Right,
And you estimated then 1.150, I
right,
think.
right.
And then he gave us a
Yeah, but I don't have
1.3.
I've
that.
given one update since then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I think it was $1.3 million.
That's what I'm remembering.
But, things are just escalating
Yeah, I
right
know.
now.
You mentioned,
Joe
the
Biden.
trails. Victor Sloan was county judge here, and of course he was big in the historical society too. He was one of our board members, and he had a vision to have this as a trailhead.
Yes, the excellent. Have an area where they can come and visit.
To tie into the.
Now, that's what we want to do with it. We don't want this house to be restored and just sit here. We
Sure.
want to use it.
It is.
We want to use it. People will come and stay in this old house, like a bed and breakfast.
Right, right.
But we'll have to hire a couple to,
Caretakers.
yes,
Right.
yes, to stay here. And they do weddings, and if you get this all landscaped up pretty, we can have outdoor weddings, or, it can really be usable and bring money in.
How much property does the historic society
This
own
part?
here? Yeah. How much property here do y'all own?
I don't want to say for sure because I don't know, I can't remember what was on the deed. But it's on the deed if you look at it.
I think it goes around so far on that side, don't we? Like up to there or something.
Yeah, I've got the deed. Also, Corky Brown was going to give us that area that's sort of a pie shape out there.
Uh-huh.
So we could have a driveway go down that way too.
Sure, good.
And I've been talking with Christy, his daughter, and we're trying to get her to go ahead and sign. She said she would. She said she wanted to honor her dad's promise because he died before we could get it done. And I've done the legwork. I've looked up the deed and got all the information for her. And all she has to do is go to the county attorney and
Right.
sign it over to us. If I can get her over here and do that, get that done. It's hard to get all the chickens in the coop. But we'll keep at it. She'll give it to us.
Well, I certainly hope that it is something that materializes. I'm gonna,
These projects are long-term projects.
Sure,
I
we
mean,
realize
it takes
that.
years. Just about all these historic projects we've been involved with, it takes 15 to 20 years before they adopt and that.
That's why we wanted to get it started way back there, but we couldn't get anybody's attention.
Right.
It could have been finished.
Unfortunately, in East Kentucky, a lot of the money's already gone.
Martin County sent a lot of coals money in.
All
and
of
we
East
should get
Kentucky
it back.
built this country,
yes.
and it's time for this country to help us out, I think. I kind of feel abandoned by the rest of the country myself.
Yeah.
There's your senator. He's your voice in
We
Frankfurt.
were used and abused, and now we're forgotten.
I tell him that all the time.
These two we really appreciate because several were invited and only these two showed up. One went to school here and the other's another. But he represents us.
You got to think like a liberal and behave like a conservative, and you'll get her done.
Well, I think
This one's good at that.
our senator's done a wonderful job for us.
Thank
and I know our representative's done a great job. I look forward to seeing him continue on. I look forward to seeing you back in office after this term.
We'll see what happens.
So do you want to say something for us?
Well, I'm just honored to be with you all here today. You know, I've always been a fan of history too. I did a double major in history and German, and I've actually traveled a bit through Hungary and Austria and that area. And I mean, the fact that we had, you know, such a vibrant community here in our own backyard in Eastern Kentucky, I find, you know, just fascinating and impressive. And you know, to the extent that we can draw that attention to this area, I think would be a wonderful thing. Martin County, you know, really as far as the landscape and things, is really one of the more beautiful counties we have in Eastern Kentucky. And I think it's well situated towards future development, especially with tourism. You know, when you have the development in the Hatfield-McCoy trails and then some of the stuff going on in Pike County with the new Hillbilly Trail system and then the others trail system over in Virginia, I think we're really in a prime location here to take advantage of it, and sites like this to kind of bring people to and show off is really what we need to kind of bring Kentucky down into it and make it a part of that success story. So I'm 110% on board. I've been a big proponent of tourism, so I've got to Frankfurt. Norma's been right there helping me, and she's still going to be a powerful voice for you all around here. And I know, hopefully, if we, you know, get the right leadership in the executive branch that wants to focus on Eastern Kentucky and improving it, then I'm hopeful that we in the legislature, a lot of the money we get goes down. The legislature appropriates and it's administered through the executive branch, and sometimes we don't get as much there as I'd like to see. So hopefully, if we get a governor to work with us, we can make projects like this come to fruition.
Yeah, that'd be
I
so
think that it's okay to tell now, but we kept it quiet for a while because it was still just new in the works. But we are working towards making this a national landmark.
It's already in the
It's
progress.
in the process of, you know, of making it a national landmark. Of course, we have to get
And
it
if that
restored.
gets done, it'll be the only Hungarian national
in the United
in the United
States.
States. And they've already, see, we've talked to ambassadors, Hungarians.
Well, I came to your ceremony there, and
Yeah.
they had their attaché
Well, you
here.
know all of that, and all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
people came from
Sure.
Washington, D.C. and Chicago.
Well, you know, actually, the government over there right now is a great government. They're very historically minded.
They
In
went
fact,
through some bad times here. the
yeah,
last
but
few
but
years.
they're actually starting to rebuild the Habsburg Castle up there and try to get some of the historical substance in their capital that the communists tore down in the 1950s. So.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
are on board with us, but
yeah,
you know,
they're
they're just
big,
kind of
they're big.
limited in what they can do right now.
well, yeah, they're not a wealthy country.
Yeah.
No.
Also on the front of here, you'll see Hungary has already published our Himler
wow.
book in
That's
Hungarian.
great. I hate to cut and run on you all, but
Well,
I
I know
have to
you
get
will.
to Frankfurt, but I definitely didn't want to miss coming to see it. I always like coming over to Martin County, and wish I had enough time to stop at Abe Stacy's Pizza and grab me a good one, but sometimes.
We appreciate you coming, we really do. Thank you.
All right, my name is Kenny Townsend. I'm the architectural designer here at the Himler House. We're working on this project for a restoration project. The project itself, I like to think of it, it maintains the spirit of Martin Himmler and Himmlerville. We're trying to just capture the beauty and showcase the beauty of Eastern Kentucky and create a location where people can learn more about this area and really appreciate it. As far as reaching me, phone number is 865-347-8187 and email address kenny.townsend, TOWNSEND21 @gmail.com.
Thank you.